Today I am going to show you how to do some custom powder coating. I have created a look for one of my scooters that is affectionately referred to as the Carnage look, and you'll probably understand why when you see it. But what I'd like to do is walk you through the process of what it takes to create this look and feel with powder coat. So let's go check out the bike first. A Ice Bear Mad Dog scooter, and this came as a stock red machine. I have since done quite a bit of powder coating on it. First thing I actually did was I powder coated these hand brake levers. I did the handlebar clamps. I did the handlebars. I most recently did the cover right here. Also did the air intake here, kickstarter, kickstand. Almost every single nut and bolt on this has been powder coated. Let's go and look at what it takes to create this effect. So here I've ordered a pair of hand grips. They're the exact same hand grips that are on the bike right now. And what I did is I ordered them in black. That's going to save us one step in this entire process. So technically I could take the red ones off the bike right now. I could sand the red off of them down to bare metal and start fresh like that. But if you can get something that's already black, you can create that effect much easier. Get these metal pieces off. Push down, or get the screwdriver under here. Come on, there we go. One end off. There we go. Now we have our two pieces that we will use to make our design on. So the tool that I use for this to create these patterns is kind of an orbital tool that I have a sander head on, and basically it allows me to kind of almost get in there like I'm using, like, you know, a paintbrush or something. Okay, I've got my sander, I've got my first piece here, and what I'm going to do is just start by gently going over a certain small section and just getting it down to bare metal and feathering the edges out. So let's see if we can do this here. You can't really make any mistakes on this. It's all art. So it's just a matter of laying down a cool design. The one thing I will warn you about is just go slow and easy and light, because if you take off too much of the paint, you're going to have to sand it all down, powder coat it black, and start again. Let's keep going here. So as you can see, I've got a design sanded in this. I usually try to go the same direction, but it's up to you. It's art. Whatever you think looks cool is what looks cool. So as you can see, we've got this completely powder coated, or completely sanded down with our design, ready for powder coat. The one thing I will tell you is when you're doing this and you cut through to the metal, at that point, slightly just rest it and go back and forth, and that will feather the edges in for you, which gives the really cool effect. In working on the second piece, I will say it's a little bit harder to get the design quite as easily, just because you're working on such a small area with, well, it's just a larger pad, so it's just a little tough. But I'm going to go ahead and finish prepping this other piece, and then we'll get the powder coating going. So you can see we've got this done now. We are good to go. We're going to move on to the next step here and get these prepped and ready to go for powder coating. So currently I'm just outside of my shop in the back, and this is where I have my powder coating set up. This is where I have my big oven to do my larger parts, and then this is the actual booth right here. Some people say that you're supposed to keep these insanely clean. Hogwash. I have powder coated successfully many times. I do clean it up a little bit, but this is where I do the powder coating. I am going to take care of getting the powder coating swapped out to the color that we want, which will be lollipop red. I have taken the liberty to hang these, and you want to get the wire so it's kind of free from any surface that the powder coating needs to go onto, because it can prevent that powder coating from sticking. So next thing we need to do is basically just clean these off with acetone. So just a little bit of this, get it nice and clean, and this stuff dries super quick. All right, now that we've got those parts clean, let's take them out, about ready to powder coat. As you can see, I've got the parts hung up behind me. I have preloaded my gun with lollipop red. So I'm basically just going to lay down a nice even coat over the whole thing to where you can barely see the black. Okay, if you take a look here, kind of see the design just a little bit. That's about where we want it at. So the next step is getting these in the oven. So as you can see, we've got these in the oven now. You know, don't put them too close to the heat source. Don't touch them with your hands, and don't let them touch. Otherwise they'll kind of bake together. But at this point, all we're going to do is bake this at 400 degrees for 10 minutes. It's a translucent powder coat, which means that it takes about 10 minutes for it to completely bake onto the product. Let's take a look and see what's going on here. Oh yeah, you can already see, a little hard to see, but you can already see the design starting to take shape. And you can see that the translucent is now baking, and you're starting to see the black through it, which is what gives it that killer design. All right, we will check back in on that once it is done. All right, the timer just went off, so let's take a look and see what we got. Oh wow, yeah, those look great. All those designs that we sanded in just come out incredible looking. So at this point, we're just going to let them cool down, and we'll get them mounted back on the grips and see what they look like completely put together. We have our final product. I took the liberty of finishing up the other hand grip while we were in between scenes here, and this is what we ended up with. Pretty dang cool looking, if you ask me. I don't know if that helps you or not, but you can see the design turned out killer. We'll just wrap up this video, and I'll say this is Sean from Rev Render Garage, and I thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time with another video.